Alright, so this knife thoughts video is going to be on this knife, and if you're like me, this 2-bar is going to throw you off. It's actually an 89-2309, which is the, according to GEC's website, 3-blade Melon tester Whittler, which is a heck of a name, in pumpkin patch acrylic, and it's number 32. So this is an older knife, as you can see from the model number. It's from 2009. It does come with a certificate of authenticity, which they don't do anymore and haven't done for a while, with Christine Tucker's signature, and it says 32 of 50, and then it was produced in November of 2009. The reason I say that this 2-bar threw me off is because, as far as I knew, this good as gold trademark was used on the glitter gold acrylic handled knives. So they used this 2-bar on knives that had the glitter gold acrylic. I don't really know why this would be used on a pumpkin patch acrylic knife. I know that good as gold is a trademark that was historically used for Tidioute cutlery, but I'm not sure why they used it on the pumpkin patch acrylic. But I checked their website, and this is the original 2-bar for this knife. So it's an interesting little tidbit. Like I often say, the only thing that's consistent with gradation cutlery in naming is that their naming is inconsistent. So handle materials can be the same with different names, or the same name with different handle materials, and everything like that. But just an interesting little side note here. I got this knife because I have always wanted to check one of these out, and one came up for a pretty good price. So I decided to check it out, especially because it's getting close to Halloween, and this nice orange pumpkin patch acrylic is kind of Halloween-y with the bright orange. Now mine, as you can see, doesn't have very much black. This pumpkin patch acrylic was this kind of pearlescent, or whatever that word is, orange with some black, but you can see that mine only really has black down on the bottoms there. But it's a really, really thin knife. That's the first thing you notice about it, and it's not a short knife. So it's about 4 inches closed. To give you some comparisons, here it is next to a Case Classic Large Trapper. You can see it's really close in length, but much, much smaller due to the thinness of it. You also notice the back springs there, which I'll mention a little bit more later. And then here is it compared to a gradation cutlery number 15. So again, a good bit, half an inch longer, but a little bit slimmer. And that's something that I was interested in. As you know, if you watch my videos, you know that I really don't like blade wrap or proud tips, and I was extremely happily surprised to find that it doesn't really have either. This tip is not proud. It's relatively close, but it's not. And I notice when I'm holding it, it doesn't really catch a finger. Now, if you press your finger down into it, it will catch the finger. But there's no reason that you would be really holding a knife like this while you're using it. So the tip is basically not as proud as I expected it to be, considering the shape of this pattern. So this is a 3-blade whittler, but it's a split back, or a split spring whittler. So you can see that it has 2 springs, and there's a wedge between them that allows it to have 2 blades on the secondary side. And then those 2 springs come together to form the spring, the back spring for the main blade, which is just a single main blade. So it's a really cool knife because of that. They don't do just a large number of split backs, or haven't done a large number of them. And split backs generally garner interest in the slip joint community. So let's look at the blades. This has the PPP for Pattern Production Premier. So it's the first run of this pattern. And it has an etch saying 1 of 50. I like that they put those on the back. And then it has the Tidioute cutlery on the front. Now this is a very, very thin spear point. You can see that it actually gets thinner, or less tall at the belly than at the beginning. And I'm sure that's just to allow it to fit into this really thin frame. It has no blade play on any of the blades, which is a pretty commendable feat considering that it is a split back Whittler. And it has pretty nice action. It doesn't have a strong pull at all, but I think that that's a good call, being that it is such a thin handle. It doesn't have blade wrap. As far as I can tell, there's not blade wrap, and that, to be honest, was a great shock to me. I kind of expected it to have blade wrap. But that's the main blade, nice long thin spear. Now you notice that the main blade did not have half stops. No half stops, it's a cam tang there. But the secondary blades, and it has two like I said, do have half stops. So you can see this is a pen, and this pen is pointier than GEC's pen blades usually are. It seems that way to me, at least. Like it's a pointier with a more gradual belly. And again, opens nicely, no blade play, and a really nice little pen blade. Finally, it has a coping blade. Again, has a half stop, and nice action on both of these light pulls. Light pulls pretty similar to the main blade, but that's, you know, a good thing on this pattern. I think it's certainly not light enough that it doesn't have good walk and talk. You can see they close nicely, all three. So really superbly made knife. Not an easy knife to make because of this split back spring, and really a cool knife, a cool older knife from Great Eastern Cutlery. They haven't done these 89s in a while. They all have done a couple different versions of them. They did some single blades, some two blades, and then these Whittlers. And it's an interesting knife because it is so thin. I do think that this would make a good user, to be honest. You could throw this in your pocket. It could even sit next to your phone or something like that. I often carry my larger slip joint if I'm carrying two, or my only slip joint if I'm only carrying one, in my back right pocket. But I think that this knife, if you were going to make it a user, could be carried, you know, vertically beside your wallet in your front pocket, if you carry your wallet in your front pocket like I do, or in your back pocket, or even next to your phone if you don't carry a modern. I carry a modern in my right front pocket, so I don't really carry slip joints there. But it definitely would be really easy to carry because of this nice thinness, and you get a lot of blade out of it. For a 4-inch slip joint, you get a really solid blade on the main blade. Let's compare it real quick to the clip point. You can see that the clip point on this Trapper is maybe a hair longer, but it's not much longer. And you know, again, similarly similar knife in length of the handle, but a lot easier to carry on this one. And then you get those two secondaries where you could keep one of these nice and sharp. I'd probably keep this pen blade, not really use it too much unless I really needed a really sharp blade. And then you could use this one for, you know, cutting boxes, opening mail, stuff like that. And then this one could be general use and maybe food. So really cool little knife. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it and not carry it, or keep it and carry it, or if I'm going to keep it, but it's one that I'm really enjoying getting to take a closer look at. And if you find one of these for a good price, I do suggest checking it out. I think it's a unique pattern, and one, like I said, that they haven't done in a long time. So this is the Great Eastern Cutlery Tidioute number 89 3-blade Melon tester Whittler from in Pumpkin Patch Acrylic from 2009. And as always, if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell for notifications when I post new videos. Don't forget to go to knifethoughts.com to check out the articles on this knife and knives like this. And also follow me on social media at Knife Thoughts on Instagram, Facebook, etc. And finally, as always, don't forget to go out and do good.